In this excerpt from the Magdalene Revolution by Andrew Harvey, the author writes from a deeply personal and spiritually charged reimaging of Christianity. Harvey places Mary Magdalene at the heart of the Christ story. It is a call to spiritual revolution and the restoration of the divine feminine and the awakening of embodied Christ consciousness for our time. The author speaks. The whole of my work for 20 years has been dedicated to trying to tell and embody the full story, with all of its transformative implications, of Mary Magdalene and her relationship with Jesus. I would not have been ready before to attempt such a difficult and radical enterprise. As a gay man and a devotee of the divine feminine in all its facets and powers, I have been for much of my life enraged by the churches erected in Jesus' name and their misogyny, homophobia, and exclusivism, as well as by the real crimes of the soul and heart these have indisputably led to. This rage, however, has never prevented me from continuing a passionate and reverent exploration of the Christ path and Christian mysticism. I have come to discover for myself and in myself a more impersonal and balanced view of Christianity that can hold the great good that has persisted in it, while acknowledging the devastating betrayals of the authentic Christ that have characterized much of the Church's practice. This balance has led to the hope that permeates this book, the hope that telling the new story as best I can will inspire you, whatever path you are on in the churches and theologies infused by the Christ, to go through a joyful revolution, one that can break through and birth a new truth, the truth of Christ consciousness. In this search, I have been constantly steadied and exalted by Mary Magdalene herself. Recently, I was reading late at night the Gnostic Gospel of Mary. In it, Mary Magdalene presents a visionary teaching given her by Jesus only to be met by virulent skepticism and denial by the male disciples, especially Peter. On all the other occasions I had read this, I had been convulsed with anger that her supreme realization and generosity had been met with such misogynistic violence. That night, however, something changed forever as I contemplated her reaction to this violence more deeply than I had ever done before. Mary Magdalene did not excoriate the male disciples. She did not humiliate them as a lesser adept might have done from the achieved heights of her own realization. She did not lambaste them as ignorant of the real Jesus, because she knew their love for him was as real as hers. Instead, she wept. She wept, I saw clearly, for two interlinked reasons. She wept from cosmic anguish and disappointment that the men who so loved Jesus that they were prepared to give their lives for him could not hear a crucial transmission that came to them through a woman. And she wept, too, because she understood what that rejection would cost the men before her, how it would deform their understanding and the understanding of Jesus' life and teaching they would promulgate, and the tragic limitations of the faith they would establish. She was not only weeping for herself, she was weeping for them and for all the men and women who would be deprived of the Jesus she knew and loved so completely. As this realization expanded in me, I understood viscerally that the time had come to dry those prophetic tears that Mary Magdalene shed, so her face in its full, humble and confident radiance could stream its wisdom to us now, and the pain of the men who could not acknowledge who she was could at last be healed and transfigured. It is in Mary Magdalene's great spirit of healing and transfiguration that is offered to all those who are open to its truth, to all those who know that the old story in all of its now obviously lethal ramifications is dying, and a new story with her and Jesus' love at the radiating center will be born because it completes and activates the full range of Christ consciousness. We are in the time of the second coming. The second coming will not be, as many churches proclaim in different ways, the return of some movie-style Jesus avatar. Rather, the second coming will be, and is already for those with the eyes to see and the hearts to receive, the rise of the golden yeast of embodied divine love consciousness in action, in millions of beings of all faiths coming together to renew and regenerate our world. This rise is impossible without a full reclamation of the divine feminine, of the motherhood of God, and without the recognition of Mary Magdalene as the bride to Jesus' bridegroom, a co-equal and female Christ in her own right. The two of them are a complete embodied love consciousness that unifies heart, mind, soul, and body and offers humanity a path of divine human love, whose power can engender miracles of inner and outer transformation. The secret of the second coming will be the reception of the bride, the restoration of the full power of the feminine in union with the full power of the masculine in the celebration of their sacred marriage. The time has come for this secret to be shared with everyone who can receive it. Nothing less than the future of humanity depends on us learning and embodying this secret in our inner and outer lives, both in our private spiritual practice and in our outer commitment to urgent, wise, sacred action on behalf of peace, compassion, and justice for all beings. The Mary Magdalene that is being revealed to us after centuries of obscuration and denigration is not only the divinely chosen, unique witness to the resurrection. With Jesus, she is also the co-parent of the entire Christian mystical tradition and of its greatest and still largely obscured and unknown secret, the transfiguration process that was made possible and available to the whole human race through Jesus, his life, his message, and his resurrection. It is this transfiguration process, I believe, which Jesus and Mary came to birth together in their sacred marriage, and that is the real Holy Grail, not any object. It is this transfiguration process that Mary Magdalene birthed in herself in the years after Jesus' ascension, to ground it in the bones and cells of humanity. And it is this process, lived through and known with astonished awe by both male and female mystics in secret throughout Christian history, that her return is now inviting all beings to at this moment in human history, when everything depends on understanding it as much as we can and surrendering to its exacting but glorious laws. These are vast, challenging, even deranging claims, because if they are taken seriously, they not only birth a new human story, but threaten and unravel the power structures of patriarchy. The return of the female Christ in her radiant equality with her beloved empowers a revolution in our understanding of the depth and glory of the divine feminine. The relationship Jesus and the Magdalene lived, that in marvelous ways we can experience but never codify, keeps leading us beyond anything we can imagine. May this journey we are on together inspire you to your own unique relationship with her and him, so you too, wherever you find yourself on the path, can be inspired to open yourself to the great birth humanity is being offered, that you too will find in them sublime examples, transmitters, and teachers. But even more importantly and amazingly, may you come to see them as I do, as loving and compassionate friends who will never cease helping you, if you find in yourself the faith and the courage to keep opening to their help. About the author. Andrew Harvey is an internationally acclaimed author, teacher, and scholar of mysticism, known for bridging ancient spiritual wisdom with urgent contemporary action. The author of more than 40 books, including The Way of Passion, Son of Man, and Savage Grace, Harvey is the founder of the Institute for Sacred Activism and a leading voice in the global movement to unite spiritual depth with compassionate, courageous service. About the book, The Magdalene Revolution, The Return of the Sacred Feminine and the Birth of Radical Equality by Andrew Harvey. Hay House LLC, February 10, 2026. ISBN 978-140196896, 272 pages. Hardcover. Kindle and audio version also available.